I shut it.
You're on.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. Tonight's minutes, first thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes held from April 27th.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes and sign the warrant.
Motion made, second by David. All in favor? Next item up, Ella has something from Jim.
Jim, the floor is yours if you'd like to talk about your letter.
Well, I just wanted to bring to the council's attention and the police chief as well, and the town manager. My name is Jim Dinkle. I'm a resident at 18 Wedgewood Road off of East Pond Road in Oakland. And Tuesday evening, May 3rd, last week, after the annual town meeting, I was driving home. And I was about 1.3 miles west of South Gage Road. And I have an electric vehicle, not a hybrid, but a full-blown electric vehicle. It had suddenly a complete power loss, which is something that they don't really train you to deal with that. I think as these electric vehicles become more common, it will be. But Mike Perkins, because of the business you're in, this probably should be of great interest to you as well, because of this rising tide of electric vehicles on the market. But anyway, I kept my senses, and 137 or Smithfield Road is a very busy highway, especially at dusk, as people are still going home from work and so forth. And I had the wherewithal immediately to call 911 because the car had literally stopped in the westbound lane because the power shut off and I couldn't get off to the side of the road. So the dispatch immediately called, I guess, to Oakland's police department. And within 3 minutes, I had a patrol officer there. And I don't lightly say this, but I feel like he probably saved my life because the velocity at which the traffic was traveling around me, coming around a curve and seeing that electric vehicle and the lights flashing, the emergency flashers. But he secured the scene, and his name was, I asked for his name, was Patrol Officer Chris Cowan. And when I say he secured the scene, he put his vehicle and such that when a car came around that corner, they immediately saw the police lights. And then, of course, he was flashing traffic both ways with his high beam flashlight as well. I think in the process, a further accident was probably avoided if someone had struck my immobilized vehicle while it was stranded there. I want you to convey to Patrolman Cowan, the chief, obviously, to the town council members and to the town manager as well, my appreciation. I said that Officer Cowan exemplifies what Rotary, a lot of you are in Rotary, service above self, and that really was putting himself out there in that busy traffic last Tuesday evening until Kim's towing from Winslow could come and take the car away. I'm glad to tell you I got the car back today. Thanks to the good service that I get at Thompson Volkswagen and Audi. So I want to express my admiration, my respect, and my sense of honoring the people who serve and protect us at the Oakland Police Department. And especially I want to thank Officer Chris Cowan, or Patrolman Chris Cowan, from a grateful townsperson. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And just so you know, Chris Cowan just came in, he's on duty, so if you're headed home,
Oh,
he can
help
help
you
you.
out.
If you need an escort or something, Jim, let us know.
No.
I might skip that because I'm driving a red sports car that I borrowed. I've heard red cars have a bad reputation. No, I'm teasing.
Thank you.
Thank you, real seriously.
Next up is permission to allow out-of-state training for the police department.
And I have Chief Tracy here to talk about that. Chief, the floor is yours.
Just happened to be here, and it's great that I get to follow this. That's very helpful. We do have an opportunity, two opportunities actually. One being the NASRO conference, which is being held this year in Colorado. And as you know, we have 2 SROs, and since it is in July, it's not during the school year, they have the opportunity to attend that. So I need permission from the council for out-of-state training for that purpose. And that would be both Tracy Frost and Pete Tibbetts would be going to that. We used to go to those every year. We haven't, as of late. Tracy went 5 years ago. He went with Adam Searoyce, who was the SRO at the time. But because of COVID the last few years, there really hasn't been that opportunity to do that. And there is again now. So I would like permission, number one, for them to go to Colorado in July for that training.
What's the month on that, chief?
It's July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
And Nazaro always has them in July because it's a school
Yeah,
resource
yeah,
officer
absolutely.
association, so it's easier, obviously, for SROs to go during the summer. So that would be the first one.
This is part of your regular training, part of your budget.
Yeah, well, we
It's
have,
nothing above and
I
beyond.
actually have training budget, Dave, that is money that we got from the buyout for Nick when he left. So there's actually $27,000 in that account, so, and it's strictly for training. That's what we use for training, so funds aren't an issue. On the other end of that is it's gonna cost around $5,000 for the two of them to go. I did talk to Carl Gartley, the superintendent, and he's agreed to split it with the town. So we'll be paying half, the school will be paying half, because obviously it benefits the school.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be 2,500 for the town.
The town cost will be around 2,500. Yep, thereabouts.
I'd make a motion, we approve the out-of-state training for the police department.
Seconded by Dave, all in favor?
That's one half of it. The other half is a little more personal. It's for me. This is the International Association of Chiefs of Police conference. It's in October this year, and it is in Dallas. And I used to go to that every year or every couple of years. I haven't been for 4, I think, years. And the cost for that will be about the same, 2,500 for the town. Thereabouts, between 2 and 2,500. So
That's
and that-
during football season, you really don't want to go there.
I know,
Dallas
it's a
Cowboys.
Dallas, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll make sure I wear the proper attire. when I go.
Yes, the Patriots colors.
But that, it's an international association, chief of police. It's the largest training in the world. There are 27,000 participants usually that come from all over the world, chiefs, for that training. So it is a very intensive training. So. And again, that's in October.
I'd make a motion, we approve that training for the chief.
Second by Bob, all in favor?
Thank you again. And
That was rough.
that money will come from the same training account, just as a heads up. Thank you again.
Thank you, chief. Appreciate all you do, and that's good words about Officer Cow, and tell him thank you also from the chair, from the council. Camden Wealth Management Investment Update, please.
And I have our financial director here, Kelly, to present the finance. Kelly.
You guys all got these in your packets. So pretty much I had a meeting with Brenda Gatcombe. She's our wealth management rep. As you know, the stock market and everything's all over the place. It's changing day to day, hour to hour. I just wanted to make you aware of a few things that's gone on this year with our investments. We have a very conservative portfolio. We're mostly treasury notes and bonds, which all have maturity dates. The bonds will fluctuate. But when the bonds mature, we will get face value of what we bought them for. So we're not going to lose money on these. And as the feds raise the interest rates recently, when our bonds do mature, we'll be able to buy those new bonds that with higher interest rates, so we'll eventually start making more money. We have 2 funds. One is our general fund. That's at 1.3 million. On page 4 at the top, this graph right here, you can see that Oakland, the benchmark has lost more than Oakland has. So we haven't lost as much as the benchmark model that they showed here, year to date anyway. We're at a 3.9% loss, and the benchmark's at a 4.51% mark loss. Our unrealized loss, because this does change day to day, hour to hour, is for this year to date is $49,563. And I will have to book that loss at the end of the year. But again, once the bonds mature, we gain that back. So it's kind of a tough scene right now in the investment world. And then-
Losing money on paper.
Right, we're only losing money on paper right now, but we do have to book that as a loss by June 30. And then our other account is the Town of Oakland Fund, and that has general fund money, and it has all our trusts. The Cemetery Trust Fund, the Library Trust Fund, Clifford Now Trust. It's 50% cash and 50% bonds. And keeping it in cash in case we need money immediately. So,
Which is about $500,000.
yeah, it's not a whole lot, because that's at 1.2 million right now.
As an example, where we would need that kind of cash is if the school budget doesn't pass and it continues to go down, we can't send out the tax bills until that happens. So we have to operate on existing cash we have in the bank. So that's a safety net for us.
So that's all I have. Yes,
Questions, Mr. Bowman?
On the chart that shows our total assets, equity, fixed income, cash, page 3,
yes.
how much do we, and it might be written there, but I don't have to put my glasses, so the equity assets, the total dollar amount.
Yes.
It seems like it's less than 50,000.
Yeah,
And is that where we,
it's for the cash equivalent. Is that what you're looking at?
no, the equity assets?
Page 3. Page 3?
Yeah.
Contribution withdrawals of command depreciation. We have the same page?
Page, yeah, page, no, page 1. This is the bar share chart.
There we go. Equity assets. Oh, that's the Schmaltz Fund. That's the library fund that was donated.
So those are the only equities that we,
Yes,
have.
yes,
So
we're
where-
only allowed to do that.
where did we lose the money?
In the interest rates of the bonds are diving.
We didn't lose money on the equity assets.
No, I know, that's why I was wondering where the,
Yeah, no, it's in the
lost.
bonds. We lost in the bonds. We can't count the Schmaltz Fund.
right, no, I was just curious
Budgeted
of
money.
what we actually lost. Because the value of the bond stays the same.
Right, until they mature. They're riding that wave right now, but at maturity, we get face value
So they're not worth face value. Yeah.
right now. But when they mature, they pop back up to face value
And that's where we
That's why I
lost
said
all,
we're only losing money on.
on
Yeah.
paper.
unless we sell
We just felt it was pertinent where we lost $49,000 on paper that we had this discussion, since we have fiduciary responsibility to the town.
Just wanted to make you aware so there's no surprises. June 30. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around all of this. 2 years into the position.
Any further costs? Questions? Done? All set?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, for that, we want to, for review and approval of changes to the cemetery. policy.
And actually, Jan is going to address that.
So AJ actually contacted a lot of different municipalities and thought it was time to bring up some of the rates that he has. And also including the disinterments, he's been having a lot of that, and on weekends and after 2 o'clock when the crew has to stay later. So on that fee schedule, that's what he has proposed on that. And then the actual policy itself, it was just some housekeeping, a lot of housekeeping items as far as putting in building maintenance and that crew. And talking about the urn gardens that he's developed in Lakeview and in on Cobble Road, that one also. We also made sure that we added in there in regards to grave spaces for veterans, because those are free to Oakland residents, and we were starting to get other requests for lots for veterans, but we're not Oakland residents, so we added that in. I think that, like I said, that it is mostly housekeeping. And Dana has made a few good suggestions on this too. It's just a policy, so we don't have to have a first and a second reading. The policy can be done one night, and council either approves or disapproves, and any suggestions you might have.
Any questions? Any thoughts, ideas?
I'd make a motion, we accept these additions and updates of the cemetery policy.
Motion made. Second by Mr. Nutting.
Question. Do we still have capacity at our cemeteries to, I mean, are we running out of land space or no?
In fact, what AJ did is he developed additional lots at Lakeview. So there's full burial lots there, and then there's also an urn garden there. And he has now established on the Colorado Road at the Lewis Cemetery, he's established an urn garden and plus other full lots there. So right now, he hasn't said to me that he's going to be running out.
But what we did do is we still have that 40 acres of property on at the end of Middle Road. And Dana had made a recommendation that the town keep that property because it's flat. And it could be a potential cemetery at some point.
Second.
Motion's been made.
After I made that suggestion, Bob mentioned that he'd put me somewhere when the time came.
Don't you worry, Dan.
You'll be late back. Motion to be seconded by Bob. All in favor? Thank you, ma'am. Next is to vote on accepting the main peers from fire department.
Yeah, we're doing our housekeeping, getting everything together for a full-time fire department. And one of the options or one of the benefits that we'd like to offer them would be to offer Main State retirement, just as we do for our police officers. And we'd like to offer the same plan, which is 3C. So this is the same process that we've done over the last two events on this. We had dispatcher that we had to do this with and with our police department. And we're asking for your support to move this forward for Main State retirement.
I'd make a motion, we accept main PERS for the retirement for the fire department.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Bowman. All in favor?
And I'll need you to sign this. Oh, you're gonna take that.
Yeah, I gotta get that to them tomorrow.
We do have a green pen. Yeah. Somebody. You get the hairy eyeballs.
I should have just taken it away from you.
You should have.
Yeah.
was yours from the town meeting.
You notice I left it there.
We were returning it.
I thought you just forgot it there.
No. Figure if I leave it there, I won't. be tempted.
Never see it again. Next item up is Mr. Dave Savage, our code enforcement officer.
Yes, I left you a few pieces of paper here. It's a consent agreement with one of our local builders. He built the house 2.5 feet too close to the property line. It really wasn't his fault. He actually hired a surveyor that come in and marked out the property line, which is what he built off from at 15.5 feet. When they did the home inspection for the mortgage this week, it's actually 12.5 feet. And one of the front pins was actually moved 5.5 feet at some point. So the surveyor went up and flagged it. He built from where it was flagged, and he's 2.5 feet too close. Like any ordinance, there is penalties that go with it. The minimum is $100 per day violation. He agreed to pay that $100 penalty if the town accepted this agreement and didn't take any other further action on the building. Again, it wasn't the builder. The surveyor found mistakes from the subdivision from like 2009. He went off them, and one of them was off by 5 feet.
Is there any abutting property issues?
It's the same owner.
Is
He's
being
developing both
encroached on.
lots. Yeah, he's developing both lots.
Okay.
Where is it?
Up on Jake's Lane, up on High Street.
Do we have to do anything with this? We have to accept it.
Have to accept it.
I make a motion, we accept this agreement.
Second.
Going on here.
Yeah, motion's been made, accepted by Mr. Dudley. All in favor?
That's it.
He owns the property, what is the release 5 feet?
This
Is
is building out of the house 15 feet from the other property line.
Okay. Just dumb question.
We're squeezing them in now. They got a piece of property that has as many houses on them as they can.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk to you again. They're looking for an LPC again. I know Bob Nutting is the Legislative Policy Committee, LPC Committee. MMA is looking for another nomination from our region. I don't know if there's anybody that's got a burning desire to sit on this committee. I know Bob was chewing his arm off. For the most part.
I had enough, my term,
Okay.
wonderful.
I
It was an
expected that.
experience.
I bet it was. Is there anybody else in this room that has a burning desire to go down and sit through this process? Going to be working with the Senate. We have somebody sitting in here that you may be working with at some point. If not,
Volunteer
then
you?
we'll just go, we'll have, let this hit the garbage can, and we'll let another town take care of it. The other thing I just wanted to mention too was council meetings for the summer. I've got to propose, I don't want to change the second or the fourth Tuesdays. I think that if we cut our council meetings down for one council meeting, we ought to keep it on one or the other. So this is my recommendation, if you want to write these down. I want to do 2 this month, May 25th, because we got some more stuff that we need to talk about this month. In June, I'd like to do June 22nd. That'd be the second meeting for the month. July, I'd like to do July 13th. And August, I would like to do the 24th. That way, if we get something that's coming up that we need to talk about, we can throw it in on the off date, the date that we chose not to. Going in the middle of the month is too confusing, because, people are used to the second or the fourth weekend. So on vacation. Right? So, does that work for everybody?
What are the dates of Oak Fest?
Oak Fest is on July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. 22nd is downtown.
Going around the room. Mr. Lenahan, anything tonight?
Yes, sir. There's a parking issue on between 89 and 99 Church Street. We have businesses located in that area. There's commercial vehicles parked. It's difficult for customers of one business or even the other business to get out. I'd like to see the town consider putting a 1-hour parking restriction in that area. They're pretty popular business. It's been a problem for quite a while. I was told that there actually was some reporting to the police department. They said there's nothing they can do about it. So there's, we should look at something. We afford that benefit to the businesses in downtown. A 1-hour parking restriction. We should do that for other businesses as well.
What business are we talking about that?
We're talking about Cozy Cottage.
Okay, she hasn't complained to us, has she? I don't recall.
I'm not sure. I'm a regular customer of the business. I've almost been creamed a couple times as
So
been
are we
family members.
talking about her next door neighbor, Norm, with the seating companies?
We're talking about commercial vehicles parked, blocking the exit and also being parked there. It's a bottleneck.
Okay, so if Carla's got a problem with it, have her come see me, or the police department.
I don't speak for Carla. I don't speak for any business owner except my own business. And as a citizen of the community, it's a dangerous spot.
What we're gonna
And-
create here, Pat, is gonna be a dispute between two neighbors, okay? Because they're gonna assume this is coming from Carla, which in fact is coming from you. If there's no complaint and it's not a traffic hazard, visibility issue, I really don't think the town should get involved in it. And I've got the police chief here that could probably talk about that better than I can. That's my opinion on it. I mean, if Carla's not having an issue, and if the gentleman who's next door to her is not having an issue, they've got a co-companionship type thing going on here that I don't think we need to get into.
Well, I'll stand up for the camera. My name is Patrick Lenahan. I'm a citizen in the community of Oakland. And I am asking the town council to look at parking restrictions between, I believe it is 89 to 99 Church Street, because it is a problem. If you haven't heard from the business owner, I don't know why. I was told, when I said, hey, why is it like this? And I said, well, we've called the police and there's nothing they can do.
Ooh.
I was having a conversation with Carla on Sunday. I was trying to get in there to pick up some furniture that I purchased. And this, I mean, if I need to do the footwork, I will try to find out who the complainants were, who called the police department, and try to research it through the comm center. But it's a problem. I mean, anybody who's driven by there and tried to enter or egress from there, we have the street coming from the boat landing, we have people coming down the hill, it's a multifaceted intersection. And don't customers of those businesses have the right to park on the street? And if it's a business, you know, why is somebody parking there all day if somebody is parking there all day? We should be moving parking along, so, you know, we can facilitate commerce.
Chief, could we ask you to,
I can look into whether there have been any complaints.
thank you.
I can tell you that if the officer said there was nothing they could do, it's because they were legally parked. So I don't know that we've had any complaints. I haven't heard of any, but I'll look into it.
If you get back to us on that.
Certainly.
Sir, are we talking about a commercial vehicle beyond, if you're heading out Church Street to the big curve, you're talking about on the right-hand side, after the entrance to the antique place?
Where the curbing is cut out and kind of facilitates parking, like there's been a space left. There's usually one or two commercial vehicles parked there.
Is it before you get to the antique place or after?
After parking doesn't start until after you go by the entrance, if you're heading out of town.
No big use.
No.
And this isn't, you know, towards any business, it's a problem that I would think that we want to encourage, you know, business in town. And it's dangerous.
Well, one of the businesses in town is the one that's parking the vehicle
On the side of the street.
I've seen it there too. I've never thought much about it because you wouldn't be turning out of there and going. How would that block your view?
Well, when you pull out, you have to nose into the intersection. And if you look to the right, your view is obstructed because you're taking in Rudder, I guess it is, you're taking in Water Street, Church Street, and then where Old Belgrade Road comes in. You have all this data coming at you, plus you can't really see around the corner. And also, I mean, the parking lot was full. Several times when I've gone, we couldn't stop because there was no on-street parking, because there was commercial vehicles parked in the street.
Thank you, Chief. Chief will look into that. Myself personally, I live right around the corner and I go by that probably 6-7 times a day for the last 27 years and have not ever noticed a problem. But I will contact Carla and I'll contact Norm and ask them what they think. Anything else, Pat? Mr. Cox? Mr. Savage, Mr. Coughlin? You get your floor again if you need it.
You know what? I do have some good news I'd like to share. I'll take this opportunity. So after a pretty stagnant number of years at First Park, in the past 2 weeks, we have sold 6 lots. So the 4 lots north of T-Mobile on what would be an extension of First Park Drive, we sold lots 19 through 22 to NBD Solar, which is from the Boston area. And we transferred that about 2 weeks ago. We have another company coming in for a second visit on Tuesday to look at lots 2 and 3 on Technology Avenue, which is the undeveloped street off of First Park Drive. It's paved and the improvements are there. It's just nothing's ever developed there. So they're looking at lots 2 and 3. And we feel real optimistic about our chances of landing that prospect. So it would be an expansion of a major manufacturer here in Central Maine. And they would be taking on about 15 new skilled, high-paying positions for that facility. So we're glad that we might be able to facilitate a retention of an existing business in Central Maine and help grow it. So those are 2 good things. We've had any number of other prospects that you just never know that may land anytime. So keep your fingers crossed. Now, I do thank the town for allowing us to use your facilities this coming Tuesday afternoon to host the one site visit. Because again, with COVID, we have a very small conference room. If you've been to our office, there's no way we could do social spacing between our visitors. So anyway, so a lot of good news coming out of that. And, you'll be hearing from JJ, our treasurer. We were talking earlier about how we disperse some of those funds back to the communities. So
Thank you.
Jim, just out of curiosity, MBD Solar, what are they doing? They're building a building? Are they clearing out the
solar
solar?
farm, solar farm. So
They're building a solar farm.
don't hold me to this. If my memory is correct, it could be up to 7 megawatts. It's or kilowatts, however they measure. So it's a fairly substantial solar farm.
David,
I'm good.
Bob, good. Don, good. All set. David,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
all in favor? Thank you, folks. Have a great night.